everyone. If you don't know me already, my name's Michelle Van Curve. I'm an autistic self-advocate who runs their own blog website called the World of Autism. I've done guest interview podcast series for over a year now, and I've had so many unbelievable guests that have been on here. And I have another one that's on here now with me, and his name is Sam Mitchell. How you doing today, Sam?
Hey, buddy. Good to be here. I mean, we had a little hits and errors there, but I think we swung her in the ballpark finally.
Yeah, I know. So let's get right into it and for you to share a little bit about yourself.
All right. So my name's Sam Mitchell, and I run the podcast Autism Rocks and Rolls. And it is about autism, how we cope with daily struggles that you may or may not understand. I've ran it since October 2019. I've had big guests on the show, such as Dr. Temple Grandin and Mick Foley on the show as well. And I have 10K downloads, but through the podcast, I'm able to have a nonprofit. So now we have a board of 5, and I help out with local disability events like Cast for Kids, so all the goodies there. And they also offer services such as podcast coaching, podcast editing, sponsorships, ad space, and everything in, I guess, in between. But then I'm also a motivational speaker. I've spoken in Oklahoma. I've spoken in Canada, and I've spoken in Orlando.
Wow, that's so cool. That's funny you mentioned about Orlando, because I currently live in Florida with my family here. I'm like a good hour away from Orlando. I'm on the West Coast.
On the West Coast?
Yep. I'm right near Sarasota.
Oh, Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's amazing about the fact that you pretty much turned yourself at the same time. Not only you've been having guests on, like you had Dr. Temple Grandin on. I got to meet her in person back in 2019 in the winter, and it was so cool.
Yes, we're great friends with her, I'll tell you that much. She's definitely one phenomenal person who can definitely think in pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And just with her speeches and everything. But getting back to you and stuff, about where you pretty much got yourself out there through your podcasting, and you pretty much became an entrepreneur through your podcasting.
In retrospect, unexpectedly, because initially it was meant to be a hobby, but after a while it turned into a business, and here we go with sponsors. Got Wellspring Pain Solutions, Blue Boy Chocolate Shop, CPA Tax Service, and many more.
Wow, that's awesome. That is really cool. It kind of I'll tell you from my own experiences a little bit that how with my own blog website and everything, it really expanded. Originally it was a hobby for me too. And now I work multiple jobs, and one of my jobs, they actually now been supporting my blog website and everything as a sponsor. So it's been expanding like crazy. It's gonna happen.
So I'm not the only one, I guess.
Yeah, it comes to show you when the key thing, and I started to notice this is just a message with this podcast episode that about with getting yourself out there, turning a hobby into a potential business and everything,
Yeah, it really is. It really is it really is a fun time. It's definitely a fun business to do.
Yeah, and especially how this were kind of leads with a topic about how with employment rates in the US alone, how so many people on the autism spectrum are still unemployed. The rates are still high.
Oh yeah, it's great. That is crazy because people won't give them a chance. You want them to you want them to do something, yet you won't give them a chance. Come on. That's what it
Yeah.
basically. I mean, if you're in my eyes, if you don't give them a chance, you're missing the best employee. They have really great punctual skills. They don't want to mess up, and some of them are self advocates, which is they give you more than expected.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there's still a lot for companies to change, but it's slowly changing. It's definitely slowly changing for a lot of companies. One of my jobs, I'm very fortunate. Um one of my jobs, I provide ABA therapy to autistic clients as an RBT. And the fact that this company was inclusive in terms of hiring people with disabilities. So that it it really depends on the ideas that the company has for people in terms of employers, and they still gotta there's still a lot of companies that need to change about that and become more inclusive.
I agree with that statement.
Yeah, yeah. And it's still wonderful about the fact that you were able to turn a hobby that you had into a business. Like, not too many, a lot of times it either happens or it doesn't. And it worked out so nicely for you in terms of like the fact that you're self-employed through your as an entrepreneur and everything. So it's wonderful. It's definitely wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely shocking, but it is wonderful to look back on it and not think you'd be there 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because, just like for autistic people, we got to make sure that we're still being economically sufficient, just like everybody else. So it comes to that. And
Yeah, land on a different target.
mhm, exactly. Exactly. And it just, that's again going back to the main message of this is that how important it is that like of getting yourself out there, and you did that through your own hobby, which is
Yeah,
really cool.
which is which I did very well, and I ended very unexpectedly because I mean I was expecting a few likes here and there, but here we are.
And I think that there's going to be a lot more as more people are starting to come out. That's another thing that I started to notice myself too, that there's more autistic people coming out, sharing their stories and everything, and trying to help others. Like you're doing that, and I'm doing that too. So, which is cool. Definitely awesome.
It's what we need. Otherwise, we'll be stuck in the basement, and I don't envision myself being there.
Yeah. So, and which definitely thank you for all that you've been doing and everything. And I definitely have listened to some of your podcast episodes, and it's awesome the fact that like how much you've shared your own
Let
experience.
me ask you, I'm just curious myself, which one?
Um, like in the beginning, like the very first like few I was listening to and everything, like sharing your experiences.
Cool.
Yep. Yep. And that's for people to know. You definitely should check it out and everything. I do have a question. Why did you where did the title come from? Autism, what your podcast title is.
Well, the autism part is me, like
Mhm.
that part. But the rocks and rolls came from the fan of rock music, and we were going to do rocks and roll taken, rock and rolls taken. So then we tried the S's, adding the S's in, and it was perfect. There was no other name called autism rocks and rolls.
Very cool. Very cool. So I really like that. That really like shows like a lot about you and like of your interests when it comes to music too. Interesting.
You can definitely imagine me with the music. It's definitely a lot of rock music, but I'll definitely slide in some variety here and there.
Right. And that's important. Having variety is very important. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to wrap this up by with asking you what your advice is to people on the spectrum that are trying to get themselves out there.
Probably my advice is if you have an idea, go for it. Whether it is repetitive or someone has already done it, to say, that's fine. But I would suggest you make it your own idea, regardless of if it's been repetitive or not. Just add a twist to it.
I like that. I definitely like that a lot. It takes like your interests, your hobbies, and like getting those ideas and being creative to explore what's out there and express yourself. That's a powerful message. Thank you, Sam.
No problemo.
Awesome. So I want to thank you so much, Sam, for coming on to share about yourself and your podcast and how it turned into pretty much a business for yourself and to help others with education and advocacy about autism. So I thank you about that.
I appreciate it. I just want for everyone I can.
Absolutely. And for people who want to follow me, you can follow my professional account as Exceptional Shell at Self Advocate MD. You can follow me on Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, you name it. I am on all of them. And you can follow and subscribe to my blog website, The World of Autism. So make sure you guys check those out. And for any new guest podcast series episodes and with stories and just my posts in general that I got on going on with the community. So thank you so much.